Today we are going to talk again about the Debbie Collier case. You see right now the video that was obtained from the Family Dollar store and her purchasing the items that would eventually, sadly, be used against her. There have been a few updates this morning and I wanted to bring those to you. I am having major technical difficulties here today with the camera and the microphone, so I apologize ahead of time. I just want to address real quickly a couple of comments I've had. Yes, I know my dogs are annoying, and I'm sorry, but they live in the house and they're allowed to bark. It's what they do. They're dogs. I have seizures and they are very protective of me, especially when I'm home alone. I can only say that if they annoy you that much, that you don't have to watch the video, but it's not necessary to leave me a comment telling me that my dogs are annoying. I know, I get it, I live with them. But if it makes you feel better to leave a comment letting me know that my dogs are annoying, then please have at it, because I'm here to help you and I want you to have a good day. And if that makes me or makes you feel better about yourself and improves your day in some small way, then please go ahead and keep leaving the comments, because I'm here for you and I feel fine about myself. So, oh, also to the commenter that said, can we skip the long intros and just get to it? Okay, there's two options for you. You can also choose not to watch my videos and find another creator that is covering the same topic and watch theirs. Or there's this thing where you can fast forward, and you can fast forward through my long intros and get right to the part where I just get to it. Again, not necessary to leave me the comment, but as I said for the previous dog commenter, if it makes you feel better and it improves your day in some small way, then by all means, please do it, because I'm here for you. Okay, moving on. So yesterday, Georgia investigators went and collected this bullet from near the crime scene. It was found, let's see, 20 to 30 yards uphill from the crime scene in a public area. Now, it's not a recreational hunting round. It is a .223 round, and it is, the area she was found is part of the Chattahoochee Oconee National Forest. It is hunting season, but it's bow season. So it's a bit unusual for it to be there. I'm not saying that maybe people aren't out there firing .223 rounds. It's definitely possible, even though it is bow season. Definitely possible. You know, it could be as simple as somebody had it in their pocket for whatever reason and it fell out. But investigators went out there and collected it. However, they are not the ones that found it. No. Fox News Digital actually found this at the crime scene yesterday. This kind of gave me pause, because we have been covering Kylie and we see what a mess the investigation has been there. The evidence collection, like from the car, was a nightmare. And we have had people, you know, we had AWP actually find the car. Then we had people like Check It TV out there recovering evidence that came out of the car. And law enforcement did not seem interested in retrieving it. I will say, when Fox News Digital called this in, they said that they had detectives out there within 15 minutes. And I have had no complaints about law enforcement in this case at all. It seems like they're doing a good and thorough job. I have a few concerns, but they may be nothing. And like I'm not law enforcement or a crime scene tech. I took classes, but I am not in that field. And I'm not here to tell people how to do their jobs. I'm just here to point out my observations, right? So they say that this could be an important clue to help lead them to who did that to Debbie. But they also said that there were no signs that she had been shot. There are assumptions out there that maybe somebody used a gun to intimidate her, to force her into the area where she was eventually found. Could be, definitely could be possible. It seems a bit odd, though, that if they had a gun with 223 rounds, that they didn't shoot her. But I mean, crimes don't always make sense, do they? They're very rarely logical. So that happened. There is going to be a briefing about the investigation on Friday morning at 9, I assume 9 Eastern. And I will either try to go live and we can watch it together, or I will come on after and give you the highlights like I did with the pressers for Kylie. I don't know what we may or may not hear. Hopefully we will hear that they have got suspects now. Maybe they've made progress with identifying who did this. Maybe we will find out more about the evidence collected, cause of death, things of that nature. I would still love to know why they believe it's drug related. That was on the report that we went over. I assume there was probably drug paraphernalia left at the scene, and that's what led them to that conclusion, but I don't know. But it will be interesting to see if we learn anything new on Friday, and I assume they probably wouldn't be giving us an update if there wasn't something of value to tell us. So while we're talking about them finding the bullet, I want to talk a little bit more about some other things from the crime scene. So this is the root ball of the tree that we've heard them mention of where they found Debbie, and we see the blue gloves, and there's things kind of scattered about, right? Get in a little bit closer here. Now a lot of people have been talking about the gloves, and there were, when I showed you the video that Daily Mail did where they walked through the crime scene, we saw bits of crime scene tape, and we saw several pairs of these blue gloves that were discarded along the way. My thinking was that these were probably from the crime scene techs, the EMT personnel, the coroner, whoever may have been out there. It did strike me odd that they would just kind of carelessly discard them and leave them out there. But some people think that these gloves possibly could have been used by whoever did this to Debbie. And that is concerning. If there's my annoying chicken. Somebody please comment about that. Oh, and there's the annoying dogs. Sorry. If they were used by the killer and they weren't collected as evidence, that's a problem. What I'm saying is, when crime scene investigators got on scene, if these gloves were already there and they weren't taken into evidence, that could be a problem, right? I'm sorry. He's watching Young and the Restless. I don't know why he's so angry. We also see the charred paper towels, which we saw her buying in the video. We see you see that strip right by the glove. I'll have a closer image of it, but they think that's a charred remnant of her jersey that she was wearing. And then that black piece down there that a lot of people said they thought it was from a book, and I have a different idea about it. But none of this stuff was collected. And that kind of bothers me. When I was taking my forensics classes, one of the first things that we did was learn about doing searches and evidence collection. And we pretty much were told to collect anything and everything because you don't know what could or could not be important. You know, if it was something that was out of place, bag it. Because it's better to have it and not need it than need it and it just be out there at the crime scene somewhere, right? So, you know, there's the potential for fingerprints, DNA, things like that. The gloves, you know, they could definitely have DNA. They could have fingerprints on the inside, or, you know, if they touched them on the outside. There's potential evidence on that black piece of book, or I think it's cardboard. These things could have been taken in and tested, I guess is what I'm getting at. And so I would like to know an answer about the gloves, whether they were there or they belong to the personnel that were working the scene. So here's a closer look at the paper towels and then that black piece. I feel like it's cardboard. I don't feel like it's a piece of a book. I could be completely wrong. I have tried to enlarge this so I could get a better look at the writing, but I was unable to get it clear enough to be able to decipher what it says. So if any of you lovely people are good at that, if you could clean that image up for me so I could see what it says and figure out what this is, that would be great. I feel like it's probably a piece of the packaging from like the tarp or the poncho or something like that. It looks like it has a barcode on it. It could be the barcode for a book just as easily as anything else. But to me, it looks like cardboard. It looks like torn cardboard. So it could be significant. Now, I don't know what all they collected from the scene. They may have collected enough stuff that they felt like these things were not significant enough to need to be brought in. They may feel like what they have is enough. But it still kind of bothers me to see it laying out there and knowing this was part of the crime. This is part of what happened to Debbie. So, like I said, it could matter. It could not be significant. I just like to bring things to you guys so you can form your own opinions. I'm not trying to push my ideas or opinions off on you. I like you to take everything in and think it over and come up with your own conclusions. And then we talk about it. So there is a close-up of what they believe to be a piece of the charred jersey that Debbie was wearing at the dollar store, the Georgia Bulldogs jersey she was wearing. And again, you know, maybe they had bigger pieces of it, whatever, but it's a piece of her clothing, and it's just kind of sad to see it out there. Hopefully, though, they got plenty and they will be able to find whoever is responsible for this horrible, horrible thing. So Mr. MMA, Andrew, he's scared. He says he's scared to the point that they are sleeping with barricaded doors. So I've got a video, and here's a little clip of what he's going to say.
Stuff in front of our back door and our front door because
I'm not.
didn't have anything to do with this, so we're a little scared ourselves.
No,
we had nothing to do with this, so we're just
I know. I bet
ourselves at this point.
So I haven't been feeling good. Last night was a rough night. I'm not going to get into it. Don't want to bore anybody, but when I don't feel good, my brain to mouth filter kind of malfunctions and I get a little sassy and snarky. My initial reaction to him being so scared was, are they afraid that the police are coming to break down the doors and arrest them? You know, if we have stuff in front of it that we'll hear them and we have time to run, or I don't know. You could take it several different ways, right? Since in the report it said it was a drug-related crime, maybe they're afraid that these drug people that got rid of Debbie are coming for them next. I don't know. People have been thinking that perhaps Debbie was out there to pay a debt either on Amanda or Andrew's behalf. And if that didn't happen, if she didn't pay the debt and ended up losing her life over it, maybe they're afraid whoever they owe is coming. I don't know. All I know is Andrew says they are scared, and it's because they didn't have anything to do with this. Let's see what else. So I have the body cam footage of Andrew when he got arrested, or not arrested, but when he violated his probation by going back to Amanda's house, beating on the doors and windows because he claimed that she was taking $500 or $600 of his pay every week to buy drugs, and he wanted his money back. And the police show up and they have this little interaction, and they're telling him, you know, it's a civil thing, you got to take her to court. And they're asking him, you know, was there a court order? How come you guys aren't supposed to be around each other? And I have the whole clip. If you guys want to see it, you can tell me in the comments. But for now, I'm going to play a very short clip that out of the whole interaction, this clip stood out to me the most. And I'm going to play it for you, and then I'll tell you why.
Andrew?
Because
Is there like a court order?
I guess so. I don't know. I went to court a while back, but
Did you get arrested?
I've been arrested before. Well, the last time I got arrested because they falsified whatever. I mean, her mom, dude, I don't know what the issue is here. I don't know why I'm so unliked. This girl got hit by a car, and
So, why I found this so interesting is because, well, there's several reasons. So, when they're asking him why the no contact order, right? He says he got arrested because they fabricated all this stuff. Then specifically says the mom, which means Debbie. And then he says, I don't know why I'm so unliked. And I found that interesting because we know he had written that note threatening the entire family. And obviously there's some animosity there. And the fact that he specifically mentioned the mom is concerning. As far as why he's so unliked, I can only assume it is because you and their daughter are in a DV relationship. It has been bad for years. You two continue to get arrested. You two continue to hurt each other. You two are ordered to stay away from each other, but can't seem to do it. I think that's why you're unliked. I wouldn't like you if my daughter was involved with you in that kind of a situation. Only my opinion. Like I said, I just found it interesting that, you know, he said they falsified all this stuff about me and the mom, and then he kind of stops himself from saying anymore. He just says the mom, and then he stops, and then he's like, I don't know why I'm so unliked. Like I said, I'm just bringing you everything that I have so we can just mull it over and make up our minds. The other day, I was on a live panel at No Thanks. We were calling it a think tank. And we were all, you know, bouncing ideas off of each other. And we got onto the subject of Steve's kids. And we know that both Steve and Debbie were married prior to marrying each other, and they both had kids from those previous marriages. Steve and Debbie had a pretty long-term relationship prior to their marriage 9 years ago, and it seems as though word has come out that Steve and his son were estranged. And we were talking about why would that be? What was the cause of that? And I kind of started digging around, really didn't find a whole lot that I could pinpoint and say, yep, this is why. But I found this Facebook post from his son, and it's 9 years ago, the day of Steve and Debbie's wedding. And it says, should I be happy about today? Some would say yes, others say no. I say it's not my life, but it will affect it later on down the road. I reckon I'll worry about it then. Somebody comments, quit being so cryptic. What's up, friend? He says, cryptic, huh? I believe Dad gets hitched today. As long as he's happy, that's what matters, right? So he doesn't seem super happy that they're getting married. And he talks about, it's not my life, but it will affect it later on down the road. I wonder what he means by that statement. How this marriage is going to affect him down the road. Like I said, he seems to not be very happy about it. And saying, you know, as long as he's happy, that's what matters, right? I can only wonder in that time span that Steve and Debbie were together even prior to getting married. I'm sure during that time, they were probably already helping Amanda, dealing with Amanda's problems and trouble, you know, bailing her out of all of these situations. And maybe Steve's kids saw what was happening and didn't like it. Maybe there was animosity. They're doing so much for Amanda, right? But then, you know, we're over here, and maybe Steve was giving more attention to Amanda because of all of her problems than he was to his kids. I don't know. Like I said, I'm just spitballing here. But I just wonder if the Amanda situation was the cause of the tension between his son and him. That, you know, he didn't want to see his dad live the rest of his life dealing with this mess. Then Holly comes on, I think the daughter, and says, sometimes things work out in a way completely different than expected. Even if it isn't how I planned, the hard part is waiting to understand. So it just really feels to me like they don't get it. They don't get why their dad is putting himself in this situation. So it's another one of those things to think about. I mean, this is Amanda, and she's had a lot of problems for a lot of years. And a friend of her brother's that knew them in high school, he said Debbie was your typical Southern mom. You know, she would do anything for her two kids. She loved them more than anything. And that Amanda's always had a hard time holding a job, and that Debbie was always there to help her get back on her feet. It's not new. This isn't new. This is an ongoing thing. So, I mean, I can kind of understand why his kids wouldn't want him to have to deal with that any more than he already had. Okay. Sorry, Sam's being a gremlin. So, I keep coming back to this, you guys. Why was she where she was? The dollar store and where she was found, you know, they're all right there near this rehab. The rehab is 157 Victory Home Lane. She was found right before Victory Home Lane, and Mr. MMA needed to go to rehab. I can't get past that coincidence. I really can't. There had to be a reason that she was in that particular area, and it had to have something to do with someone that she knew. Was she taking him there to drop him off? Was she taking him there to enroll so he had proof to show to the court that he was in fact registered to go to rehab? I don't know, but I can't get past that. And her going to the dollar store and buying those particular items, you know, why that dollar store? She had plenty of other options closer to home. Well, I found out that Steve, he not only works at a bank, he also works as a parking attendant for the Georgia Bulldogs home games there in Athens. I don't know that, you know, this is a job for money. I also found out that he owns 9 other properties in Athens that I assume are probably rentals. It's probably something that he just did, you know, for the fun of it, to, you know, be involved in the community. They were Georgia Bulldogs fans. He could get into the game for free. I think it was just a novelty for him. Well, we know Steve said that he left for work in the morning. He didn't see Debbie, but he saw her car in the driveway. I assumed he was going to the bank to work. I think we all did. But he could have been going to park cars. Now, the game was not until 4, but they start parking as early as 10 for tailgating and things like that before the game. So maybe he was going there. And the things that she bought, I'm pretty sure I mentioned it before, they seem to be things that you could use for a tailgate or a barbecue. We know Steve said that she wasn't supposed to leave the house that day, but they may have had plans for that evening. Like I said, the game started at 4. Maybe she was supposed to be home and then meet him there, and they were going to either go to the game or tailgate in the parking lot. Or, you know, maybe she was just planning on watching the game at home. I don't know. It just, the things that she bought, to me, it fits if they were going to tailgate, if they were going to meet up later. You know, the poncho, that could have been for either her or Steve. You know, she may have gotten it for him to wear for parking the cars, or, you know, whatever. The tarp in case it rained, the lighter to light, like a lot of people bring little grills out there and cook, and the paper towels. I mean, that's just a given when you're tailgating, right? And then the reusable tote may have just been to throw things in, to take them out there and just have everything all in one place. It was red. It's Georgia Bulldogs colors. I don't know. She's definitely dressed to go to the game, but I dress like that to watch the game in my living room. So, I mean, it could mean something, it could not. But why this dollar store, right? So she's in the area for some reason, and she's in the store. It's 3 o'clock, 3:09. And she's probably like, shoot, I'm running late for the game. Even if she's going to watch it at home. Like, my whole life is scheduled around my football games. Like, what time the Sooners are playing, what time the Cowboys are playing. Everything is scheduled around that, so I can be home to watch my games. So even if she was planning on watching it at home, she may have been like, you know, it's an hour drive from where she is to get back to her house, and she's like, it's 3:09, I got to get out of here. That may be why she seems rushed at the end of the video, where she's kind of just like taking the stuff from the clerk and throw it in the bag like, I got to go. You know, maybe she wanted to be home in time for kickoff. But I feel like she was there for some reason, like I said, dropping him off or whatever at the rehab, and was like, well, while I'm here, you know what? I'm just going to run into this dollar store, and then I don't have to stop again before I get home. It could also be, what if Amanda or Andrew called and they're like, hey, maybe they were like, we were going up there to take him to rehab, to enroll him in rehab, and we're having car trouble. Can you come and pick us up? Well, of course, you're a mom. You're going to be like, yep, I'll be right there, because you don't want anything to happen to your kids, no matter how old they are. It could have been something like that to get her to that area. They said when they saw the car there at 5, the day that she disappeared, before they knew it was involved in her disappearance, that it's common for cars to pull off in that area. So, maybe they were like, hey, we're pulled off here. Can you come pick us up or whatever? And while she was there, she's just like, I'm going to run into the store. They say she was alone in the van, but if they were in the van with her at the time, the windows on the van are tinted very dark. I don't know if someone was in the back, if you'd be able to see them or not, especially if they were reclined or even maybe laying down to avoid being seen by the cameras. Another interesting thing about it is that law enforcement had gotten a tip that Amanda was at this Family Dollar the day that Debbie disappeared. So police went there. I'm assuming that's what led them to the store in the first place, to finding this footage. They went there to check out this lead, and they talked to the clerk, and they found out that no, it wasn't Amanda. It was actually Debbie herself that was there. The clerk said that she was sure it was Debbie, not Amanda. But that's kind of interesting that somebody thought they saw Amanda there, and that's what led police there. Maybe they saw Amanda outside. I don't know. But they're sure this is her. I believe it's her. A lot of people don't think this is her in the picture. Some people have even said they thought it was Andrew with a wig on. If you don't think this is Debbie, please tell me in the comments why. What am I missing? What do I need to look for in this picture to show me that it's not her? Because I'm very fascinated by how many people out there really believe this is not her. And if it's not, I'd like to see what everybody else is seeing. And then there's all these people with the theories that she unalived herself, that she bought this stuff and then she went out there and she unalived herself. I don't buy that. I don't buy it at all. For starters, I don't believe if a woman is going to do this to herself, you're not going to strip yourself naked to begin with. There are so many different options if you're going to do something like that. Why light yourself on fire? I don't know. And why there? Why would she go there, of all places, an hour away from home, hidden a quarter mile off the road, in the woods, strip naked and do this? It doesn't add up. If she was home alone that whole day and she was having these thoughts and these feelings, I feel like she probably would have done something there. I can't wrap my mind around the she unalived herself theory. And we talked, I still feel so strongly that Amanda and Andrew are involved. I don't know that I would go so far as to say that Amanda was involved in the actual act of what happened to her mother. I do believe she knows what happened to her mother, and I do believe that she's probably covering for whoever did it. I could see it being Andrew that was involved because of how he spoke in that body cam clip I showed you. And normally, if it's a family member that does something, the guilt, even almost without knowing, almost subconsciously, they cover the victim. And Amanda, being a woman herself, you wouldn't want your mother found like that. Now she is an addict, and maybe she didn't care. But it's easier for me to see Andrew or something without that bond and not caring about how Debbie was found, in what state she was found. So, hold on. Sorry, they're talking back to me. So the authorities, they've mostly said it's somebody that knows her, right? They haven't come out and said it's somebody that knew her, but they said it was targeted and there was no threat to the public, that, there's not some crazed lunatic out there preying on people. So it feels like it had to be someone that was known to her. The act of her being undressed and being burned and things like that, this all feels very personal. It feels like a very personal crime. So I don't feel like it was a stranger that did this to her. Could it have been somebody that knew somebody, a boyfriend or a daughter? Maybe. But when you start to go down that rabbit hole, the more people that are involved, the harder it is to keep something quiet. And if there are outside entities involved in this, it's going to come out even faster, I feel. I expect an arrest very soon in this. I really do. I think law enforcement knows who they're looking for, and they're probably just trying to gather evidence for a strong enough case. I'm so sorry. Like I said, I don't think we're going to have to wait long. I feel like this will be wrapped up fairly quickly. Let's see, do I have anything else that I wanted to mention? I talked about all of that. I think pretty much it. I mean, like I said, they narrowed the time frame for what happened to from 3:09 until when her body was discovered. It took 12 to 15 minutes roughly to drive from the dollar store to where she was found. The dollar store is 12 miles north of where her body was found, so it takes like roughly 12 to 15 minutes to make that drive. Within 8 minutes of leaving the store, she had sent the Venmo. Somebody sent the Venmo on her behalf. I'll put it that way. We still don't know if it was her. And then 4 to 6 minutes later, she arrives to where she is eventually found. It's frustrating to know that when police saw her car at 5 that day that she went missing, they say they stopped and they found the car unlocked and unoccupied. There was nothing in the car, and that he went up to like the edge of the wood line but didn't push into the wood line. And it's almost frightening to think Debbie could have already been there. Somebody could have been in the act of doing something. He could have crossed paths with who did this if he had investigated further. It doesn't sound like he ran the plates. I mean, even if he had, the time the officer is getting there and seeing her vehicle coincides with the time that the missing persons report is being filed, right? Because Amanda gets concerned when she gets the Venmo. she drives around for 2 hours going to Walmart and Ulta and all this stuff looking for her mom before her and Steve file the missing persons report at 5 something. So if he had run the plates at that time, it wouldn't have popped up in his system that this vehicle was being looked for in connection to a missing persons. But it doesn't sound like the plates were run at all. And I so wish, hindsight's 2020, right? I just so wish that cop would have investigated a little further into the woods or something. It may not have changed the outcome of this case, but she could have been found sooner and maybe more evidence could have been preserved. But that's really all I have for you today. I guess I did the live with the Dago yesterday. If you didn't see that, go back and give it a watch on the replay. I have the link in my community tab. And I was supposed to be on panel with No Thanks last night, but some things happened here last night that I couldn't join. I don't want to really get into it, but everything's fine. But I couldn't join last night. If they go live tonight, I'm hoping that they'll invite me to join. I texted them and told them why I could not be there, and I'm hoping they understood. I did not hear back from them. But yeah, I have to do family first. So with that being said, thank you for putting up with me and my annoying dogs and my annoying chicken and my crazy hair and my ums and ahs and long intros. Thank you. I love you guys. I'm anxious to hear your thoughts and your comments after you go over everything I presented here today. So maybe you can get me thinking in a different direction. I want to hear your theories. Like I said, there will be a presser on Friday, and we'll cover that. And welcome all my new subscribers. Welcome to the chaos that is my life and my channel. I hope you enjoy it. I hope I don't annoy you too much. I hope you all have a fantastic rest of your day. Thank you for spending part of it here with me. And as always, I will see you all in the next one. Bye.